Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are taking a really strategic look forward, specifically at the next fiscal year.
Yeah, we've just finished going through all the intelligence from the Gartner IT Symposium Expo 2025.
And their analysts, Tori Pullman and Jean Alvarez, they outlined 10 strategic technology trends that organizations really need to get their heads around for 2026.
It's a crucial list, I think, because the source material makes it so clear that this year is, well, it's pivotal. You've got technology leaders facing this period where disruption, innovation, and risk are all expanding at what they call an unprecedented speed.
That phrase, unprecedented speed, really stood out. The velocity is what's fundamentally different now.
Exactly.
Tori Pullman really drove that point home. She said something like, what feels different this year is the pace. We've seen more innovations emerge in a single year than ever before. So the message is that the future isn't some far-off horizon anymore. It's already here, and it demands an immediate strategic response.
And that response can't be random. These 10 trends, which we've sort of grouped into 3 big categories, they're all tightly interwoven.
Right.
They connect back to 3 fundamental themes that, define success in this new environment. Responsible innovation, ensuring operational excellence, and this is critical, maintaining digital trust.
So everything we're about to discuss, from hardware all the way to global data politics, it all speaks to one or more of those 3 pillars.
Precisely.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's dive into the infrastructure that really makes everything else possible. Our first segment is all about the new AI architecture.
How organizations are building and specializing their core AI platforms.
So where do we start?
The first trend is the AI Supercomputing Platform. If we're talking about operational excellence, this is the engine room.
And this isn't just buying faster GPUs, is it?
Not at all. We are talking about a completely integrated hybrid architecture. It combines your traditional CPUs and GPUs with highly specialized hardware. Things like AI ASICs, which are custom-built chips for AI, and even more cutting-edge stuff like neuromorphic and alternative computing paradigms.
Okay, neuromorphic computing. That sounds like a massive leap in complexity. We're talking about hardware that's designed to mimic the human brain, right?
We are. Because traditional hardware, no matter how fast you make it, it's hitting its limits. It just can't handle the scale of deep learning and the complex reasoning that next-gen AI needs.
So these neuromorphic chips are more efficient.
Far more efficient for cognitive tasks. They offer ultra-low power, highly parallel processing, and the whole platform, tied together by this sophisticated orchestration software, is what you need to handle these incredibly complex workloads.
Like modeling global markets.
We're simulating drug interactions.
Yeah.
The tangible results are what's driving this.
And the competitive advantage is obvious. Gartner is predicting that by 2028, over 40% of leading enterprises will adopt these hybrid computing architectures.
Which is a huge jump.
A 5-fold increase from the current 8%. So why is it accelerating so fast? Is it cost, or is it just pure necessity?
I think it's necessity. The gap between, say, a company that can model new drugs in weeks, which is one of the examples cited,
right,
and one that takes years, well, that gap is just becoming economically unviable. Utility providers need this power to model extreme weather and optimize their grid in real time. If you can't do that, you just fall behind.
Okay, that makes sense. So from the hardware, let's move up a layer to the collaborative software. Trend number 2 is Multiagent Systems, or MAS.
Right. MAS are basically collections of autonomous AI agents that interact and coordinate with each other to achieve complex business goals.
So don't think of it as one giant AI brain, but
think of it as an orchestra of specialized assistants.
Yeah.
You might have one agent that gathers information, another one doing risk assessment, a third drafting proposals.
Yeah.
All working together on a single project.
So this is like workflow automation, but with critical thinking built right in.
Exactly. Traditional automation is so rigid. If something unexpected happens, the process breaks. MAS are designed to be adaptable and goal-oriented. They boost operational excellence because they're a practical way to automate processes that used to need constant human handholding.
And they have upskill teams faster.
They do, because the agents themselves retain the proven solutions and best practices, and they can reuse them across different scenarios. It's a huge efficiency gain.
That immediately makes me think about specialization. A general-purpose agent is fine, but for high-stakes fields like finance or law,
Oh yeah, generic knowledge can be dangerous.
which leads us perfectly into trend number 3,
Yeah.
domain-specific language models, or DSLMs.
DSLMs are the answer to the shortcomings of generic LLMs. You know, for all their impressive abilities, they often hallucinate or just give unreliable information when you get into specialized knowledge.
And the C-suite is noticing.
CIOs and CEOs are demanding models that deliver tangible, reliable business value, and that just requires precision.
So these are models that are either trained from scratch or heavily fine-tuned on very specific data sets for a particular industry or even an internal process.
That's it, exactly. They are the key to unlocking accuracy, reliability, and, crucially, compliance.
Right.
If you are a financial institution, for example, your DSLM understands complex regulatory language and your internal risk models. It ensures sound decisions.
And Gartner seems very confident about this shift. They're predicting that by 2028, over half of the Gen AI models enterprises use will be domain-specific.
They are. The takeaway is that context has become the critical differentiator in deploying AI successfully.
That really sets the stage for how AI is being built. So let's pivot now to segment 2. How do we manage, secure, and govern all of this new technology?
Okay, development, security, and trust in the AI era. We have to start with AI native development platforms.
Right, because if the speed of innovation is unprecedented, then development speed has to match it.
And these platforms use Gen AI tools to just exponentially accelerate software creation.
The organizational prediction attached to this is what really caught my eye.
The 80% one.
Yeah. By 2030, these platforms will lead to 80% of organizations evolving their huge software engineering teams into smaller, nimbler teams that are heavily augmented by AI. This isn't just about coding faster. This is a total workforce restructuring.
It is, and it speaks directly to that theme of responsible innovation.
Yeah.
The platform enables non-technical domain experts.
The people who actually understand the business problem.
Yes. It lets them produce software themselves, but, and this is key, with robust security guardrails built in by default. But we have to look at that 80% prediction a little critically.
That's the catch.
Well, the risk is knowledge decentralization. You gain speed by having these smaller teams, but you might lose the deep institutional knowledge and the long-term architectural oversight you get from a large centralized engineering group.
So governance becomes even more important.
It's paramount.
Yeah.
You have to ensure that all this AI-generated code still meets enterprise quality standards. It's a balancing act.
And if we're decentralizing and accelerating development like this, the threat surface must be enormous.
It is. Which brings us to AI security platforms. They're a necessary response to Gen AI becoming a major attack vector itself.
So what's the need here?
The need comes from the fact that all these third-party AI models and custom apps, they introduce vulnerabilities that traditional security tools just can't see. These new platforms give you a unified system, a single pane of glass, to see everything and enforce policies across all your AI.
Can you give us a concrete example of a risk they mitigate?
The classic one is prompt injection. An attacker tries to subvert the LLM's instructions with a malicious input to make it ignore its safety rules.
I see.
These platforms can identify and block those attempts. They also help with things like data leakage from training models and, frankly, the terrifying idea of rogue agent actions.
Where a multi-agent system goes off the rails.
Mm-hmm. So by 2028, Gartner says over half of enterprises will be using these platforms. Securing your AI is no longer optional if you want digital trust.
Speaking of trust, when everything's being created at this speed, how do you verify where any of it came from? That seems to be the entire point of digital provenance.
Verification is absolutely essential. We rely so much on third-party software, open source code, AI-generated content. Digital provenance is just the ability to verify the origin, the ownership, and the integrity of these digital assets all the way through the supply chain.
So we're talking about tools like a software bill of materials, an SBOM, or digital watermarking to prove an asset hasn't been tampered with.
Exactly those things. They provide an audit trail right back to the source. And the stakes here could not be higher.
What are we talking about?
The forecast is that by 2029, organizations that fail to invest in digital provenance will face sanction risks, potentially running into the billions of dollars.
Billions.
Billions. This isn't just a best practice. It's becoming a regulatory imperative. It's fundamental to maintaining digital trust with customers and with regulators.
Okay, billions of dollars in risk makes that a pretty easy investment to justify. Let's move to our final segment now, which is very outward-looking. It's about technology extending into the physical world and dealing with, well, global geopolitical realities.
Right. Starting in the physical world, we have physical AI. This is the practical deployment of intelligence into machines and devices that actually sense, decide, and act in the real world.
So we're moving beyond simple robotics. This is autonomous drones, smart industrial equipment.
Dynamic logistics systems, yeah, it's all of that.
This sounds like the operational technology, the OT side of the business, is completely merging with the IT infrastructure.
Because that's precisely the challenge and the opportunity. Physical AI delivers these measurable gains in industries like manufacturing, agriculture, warehousing.
Anywhere, automation and adaptability are key.
Exactly. But to deploy it, you have to break down silos. Your teams need new skills that bridge IT expertise like data handling and security with OT and engineering expertise like sensor management and mechanical systems. It's a huge cross-functional challenge.
And with all these smart devices and physical AI endpoints proliferating, the old defensive security model is just broken.
Totally broken, which is why the market is pivoting so aggressively to preemptive cybersecurity.
So this is a shift in spending.
A major one. It's moving resources away from just reactive defense, your firewalls, your antivirus, and toward proactive protection. Gartner projects that by 2030, preemptive solutions are going to account for half of all security spending.
Half, wow. So how does it actually work? What does acting before an attack even look like?
Well, it leverages AI-powered SecOps to anticipate vulnerabilities. It uses what's called programmatic denial, so it automatically shuts down potential attack vectors the second it detects suspicious activity.
And it also uses deception.
Heavily. It'll actively feed attackers false data or route them into monitored honeypot systems to waste their time and, more importantly, so you can gather intelligence on their methods. The new mantra, as the analyst put it, is prediction is protection.
Okay, now let's talk about a technology that addresses both security and the complexity of global collaboration, confidential computing.
This trend is, I think, revolutionary for digital trust. What it does is it isolates sensitive data and workloads inside hardware-based trusted execution environments, or TEEs.
And a T is a secure area of the main processor memory.
Essentially, yes, using tech like Intel SGX or AMD SOV. And the key distinction here, the thing to really understand, is that the data is secured in use.
Why is in use so critical?
Because even if you're running your confidential workload on untrusted infrastructure like a public cloud,
Right.
the cloud provider itself or anyone who physically gets their hands on the server, they cannot view the data or the processes. It all stays encrypted and isolated by the hardware.
Which would be hugely valuable for regulated industries or even for competitors who want to collaborate on a data set without revealing their own data.
Exactly. The use cases are massive, and the market reflects that. Gartner predicts that by 2029, over 75% of operations processed in untrusted infrastructure will be secured in use by confidential computing.
75%. That's a fundamental shift.
It shows you how essential this capability is becoming for mitigating global risk.
And that global risk brings us to our final strategic trend. And this one feels like it's driven almost entirely by geopolitical instability. Geopatriation.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Geopatriation is this calculated effort by organizations to move their data and critical applications out of global public clouds.
And into what?
Into localized sovereign environments. That could mean a regional cloud provider, their own data centers, or these specially designated sovereign clouds.
And this is about more than just data residency rules, isn't it? This is driven by the fear that a foreign government could mandate access to your data through their laws.
Absolutely. The primary driver is aligning with local regulations and building deep customer trust. You're guaranteeing that data is protected by local laws and national jurisdictions. The political risks, from trade tensions to outright conflict, are just causing big companies to hedge their bets.
And the predicted shift is seismic.
It really is. By 2030, more than 75% of European and Middle Eastern enterprises will have geopatriated their virtual workloads into these risk-reducing solutions. That's up from less than 5% today.
That changes the entire architecture of the global cloud market.
It forces innovation to become more localized. It's a huge deal.
What an extraordinary list. I mean, we've covered 10 trends that are so much more than just tech upgrades. They really are these tightly interwoven catalysts for fundamental business transformation, and they all drive toward those three themes you mentioned at the top.
Operational excellence, digital trust, and responsible innovation. And you have to have a holistic approach. You can't just adopt multi-agent systems without also investing in digital provenance and AI security platforms at the same time. The trends really enforce and necessitate each other.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? If we synthesize the most transformative predictions we've discussed, specifically this immense demand for specialized compute and the massive geographic restructuring of the cloud market, it raises a really profound strategic question.
Indeed. We know that by 2030, over 3/4 of enterprises in Europe and the Middle East will have committed to geopatriation. At the same time, we know that these advanced AI supercomputing platforms are necessary just to stay competitive.
So there's a conflict there.
There is. The challenge is this. How will the increasing demand for that specialized high-performance supercomputing power be met efficiently in these smaller, regional, sovereign cloud environments? Can these localized clouds actually achieve the same specialized scale and density of innovation as the global hyperscalers?
Without sacrificing the very sovereignty they were designed to protect in the first place.
Exactly. It's the essential conflict of the next decade. Localized control versus global scale.
A perfect thought to mull over as you consider your own strategic direction for 2026. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring those complex connections.